Hello and welcome to coverage of the Magic Online Championship. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Kenji Egashira, and we are ready now for the 6th round of action here.
So I got to think that Martin probably has the upper hand.
So what are the matchups, Kenji? Lay these out for us.
Jesper's on the aforementioned Podless Pod, I guess.
Podless Pod, sure.
Yeah. And Martin Dang's on that Grixis control list with bunch of sweet value creatures.
I mean, this is more of like a Grixis Delver list, right? I mean, it's got some controlling elements, but this thing can put out some big threats and really get you.
Yeah, I mean, it can put a lot of cards in the graveyard early. All right, let's see. What do they got here?
Looks like a couple of keepers for both players here.
Yeah, really like this hand.
Yeah, Birds of Paradise to kick things off for Jesper. And
bread and butter.
Yeah, we look down at Martin Dang's hand, and he's got a Gitaxian Probe. Well, now 2 Gitaxian Probes, so he's going to be churning through his library pretty quickly. Maybe even find a Lightning Bolt to take down that bird.
You know what Gitaxian Probe does?
What's that?
Gets delved away for Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to fill up his graveyard probably with 3 cards this turn minimum. You know, he can go fetch land, Gitaxian Probe, and be well on his way to getting that Gurmag Angler down, which is going to be bigger than anything that Jesper's able to play here, but it's a little slow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he might even play the Snapcaster on 2, just flashing back when it was, well, the best.
Found the bolt.
I can't imagine that he doesn't just bolt the bird immediately.
That is the standard play sort of in all formats at all times.
The classic.
It is the classic. There are times when you don't want to do it, but I'd be surprised if he didn't here.
Yeah.
We'll see right now. Yeah, he's going to get a Steam Vent, so that should tip us off that, in fact, Lightning Bolt is going to be the card. And interestingly, this still gives him the opportunity to fill up his yard. The Bolt's going to replace the Gitaxian Probe. He decides not to fire it off here, but that's going to be in the yard whenever he wants it to be for free. And we could see, let's see, I think you need one more fetch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. Yeah, he's still 1 mana away from getting that Gurmag Angler this turn. If he had a fetch, I think he could do it, though.
But killing the bird was such a huge blow.
What a beating.
Not to mention, he doesn't even have his 3rd land for Kitchen Finks next turn if he doesn't draw it.
Wow, that was a huge Lightning Bolt there for Martin Dang, especially since he got a chance to see, you know, his hand. He knew for sure this is an easy bolt.
Exactly.
All right, so Martin's going to Gitaxian Probe here.
So he saw everything but the Revel Arc the first time around, so he knows he doesn't have to, you know, lay out his Snapcaster Mage for no reason. He's just going to pay the full value for the Gitaxian Probe.
Right. Okay, and that's going to do it for Martin's turn, but he has set up this Gurmag Angler for the next turn. He can play Dark Slick Shores and run out that Angler, and ooh, nice draw there for Jesper. He finds Windswept Heath, which he really needed to, you know, keep his game plan moving forward here.
He wants to hit 4 mana real bad so he can use that Collected Company.
Yeah, start going to work.
Gurmag Angler, modern staple, Marshall.
Not quite willing to go that far with it. It has made appearances, though. You know, Patrick Chapin kind of famously played it at the Pro Tour, though he didn't have a lot of success with it at the time. But, you know, you start to see cards like that pop up in lists like what Chapin was playing in it. You start going, you know, this has some potential here and there. He certainly saw the potential in it as well.
Oftentimes, it's just the 1 mana 5/5, right? You're cycling through so many cards.
It easily can be.
Pretty good draw there for Martin.
Here it's going to be a 3 mana 5/5, it looks like.
Yeah, I can't. Well,
Martin is. Wow, he's just going to pass a turn back here.
He's holding up the bolt because he's scared of the combo.
He wants to respect the combo here.
Exactly. I like that play. If nothing else, he can still flash in the Snapcaster Bolt something else.
But what has to happen for the combo to go? He has to Collected Company into 2 separate combo pieces?
Well, he could have just
if he draws a land here?
Even if he had just played, you know, a Viscera Seer plus Anafenza, he wouldn't have necessarily needed to Collected Company.
Yeah,
right?
But the problem is Martin knew his hand. He knew that he was top decking there and wasn't going to hit both of those cards.
That's very true. So I guess he was just hoping that, or, you know, holding up in case he did hit the land for Collected Company.
And then could just go for it here.
It only sets him back a turn and it plays so much safer.
All right, so he's going to actually just block Kitchen Finks here, and that's going to completely take Kitchen Finks out of the equation. It's going to come back, but Martin's going to get a chance to lightning bolt it here. Yeah, while the lightning bolting's good.
I wonder if you should have played the Spell Scout first, actually, for Jesper, right?
Yeah, absolutely is possible. If he did,
is he thinking about courting for 1 year?
He is definitely thinking about it. His other play for the turn is to play Spellskite and leave up Path to Exile.
I don't think you want to leave a Path versus the Grixis deck, though. It's just...
I'm saying that's his turn
Sure,
option.
yeah.
I'm not saying he should do it. It's just that it's either Spellskite or he can chord for 1.
And then 1-drops, we see Birds, the Viscera Seer.
All right, he's going to chord for 1 with Lightning Bolt on the stack.
Okay.
Go find himself something here. Here's the Viscera Seer.
Now, he does have the Revelark in hand, too. That can potentially, get back the Finks.
I don't think he can get back the Finks,
no.
yeah. But he does get to get an extra scry activation here, and it's pretty important. I mean, he is digging for lands and mana sources here to try to get that Collected Company going down the line.
And he's under no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all from Martin Dang. He passes the turn back with just the Viscera Seer. Martin has I think he knows 3 of the 4 cards, though.
Mm-hmm. Everything but Spellskite.
Hand. Yeah, Spellskite's the only one he doesn't know.
Is it big fish time, it looks like?
It does look like that.
So he has 2 probes in his graveyard. Wonder if he wants to snap again.
It's possible. I think he can just go Delver and Gurmag here, though.
Sure.
Seems like a pretty productive turn. He's putting up 6 power, maybe up to 8 power, depending on what he hits on top of his library here. And he knows that the coast is relatively clear. I like this play from Martin. He's presented 2 massive threats, at least 1 for sure. Razorverge Thicket on top there for Jesper. So awkward. Path to Exile, though, looks like it's going to take out the Angler here.
I think give him the option between land and no land, though. He'll happily take it.
That's a good point.
Wow, he's offering the trade up.
This is an interesting choice now for Martin.
Yeah,
this is his main source of pressure, but it's a key combo piece that Martin doesn't currently have an answer to in his hand.
I think that Spellskite's going to do some major work here.
Yeah, for sure.
Does he get the blind flip?
He does.
Wow, the Bolterino, but it's a little bit too late. He already has the Spellskite down.
Yeah, but still, now he's got a clock, so he gets to keep beating down here. But Revelark is certainly going to change that, and of course that Collected Company is going to be looming as well. So it does feel like the advantage has shifted over to Jesper here.
I don't know if he ever lost the control, honestly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And I felt like Martin was in the driver's seat there with the Gurmag Angler and the Delver, at least for the snapshot. Now, we knew the hands and that the Path to Exile was going to kill that Angler either way, but
I think Martin knew that too, right?
He did.
Ooh, so he might be going at the next turn. He's going to upkeep the Collected Company to play around counters. Or maybe just potentially try to go off and do something here. Looks like Martin's reading the card.
So he can just hit here, right? I mean, if he just hits, a Kitchen Finks?
Kitchen Finks I don't think is going to do it. It'd have to be...
You don't think Kitchen Finks would do it here?
What would Kitchen Finks do?
No, if he hits Kitchen Finks and Malira?
I mean, he can gain, sure, an infinite number of life.
Yeah, that usually wins you the game against the deck playing Lightning Bolt.
It's not that...
Don't think that Martin Dang has many ways to win the game if his opponent's at 4 billion.
After that, granted, he can scry into a Murderous Red Crap or whatever, though he doesn't have enough.
Yeah, so he might be able to just hit it right here. A little sick sweat here from Martin is going to sit back.
He's like, Remember, Martin can...
there's on Offenza, and there's Kitchen Finks, so he hit it. Whoa. Collected Company just getting there.
Yeah.
Now, the Lightning Bolt here, though, does get to break this up, right?
No, he has the Spellskite.
Oh, of course, the Spellskite. I forgot about
even
it.
With Snapcaster Mage flashing it back, it's just...
So he's bulletproof. And here we go.
I was watching Jesper do this in a previous round. And just,
Is he pretty fast at it?
Yeah, and his opponent was just sitting there, lazily with his arm over the chair, looking back. He's like, I'm just going to make him do it.
So, prediction time. How high do you think Jesper goes here?
I saw him go to 60.
60 was where he stopped?
Yeah, okay. I think I saw him go to 60 the first time.
That's a pretty reasonable amount.
It's always fun to watch this. It's not fun to do it, but
I don't know if it's that fun to watch either, but
I enjoy it.
We'll take it.
I'm a splitter twin player. If they make me go through it, I'll make 70 of them.
Life's little pleasures.
It is.
And of course, the side benefit here too is that Viscera Seer gets a scry activation every time he goes through this. So, basically Jesper can figure out which card he wants to draw.
Yes.
Next turn. This is sweet.
I love it. Martin's just got to sit there.
Yeah. I suppose the card that he wants ultimately is just that red cap.
Again, he doesn't have the double black now.
He just can't cast it at all.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So,
but
guess he doesn't want that.
With enough scries, you could set up whatever you want. And again, if you're doing this on the opponent's turn, on your turn, you can set it up to where, again, you're going to bolster your whole team 100 times. And if you have, one creature that can get through, that will do the job.
This is so sweet. Can't believe he hit both off of that.
Oh, he's just going to town. That Spellskite just ruining the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Martin had the lightning bolt. I forgot about the Spellskite sitting there. It just is his insurance plan.
So do you think Martin is regretting not blocking the Seer when he had the chance?
That's hard to say.
Because he wouldn't have any pressure at all.
Yeah, that threat was so important to his game plan that you got to figure that Jesper would just have so much time to find the combo pieces if Martin couldn't find pressure. But, man, when your opponent offers up the combo piece for just a trade 1-for-1, oftentimes you take it. We saw him prioritize getting Kitchen Finks off the table early by using a lightning bolt flashback from a Snapcaster plus a block from the Snapcaster. Clearly that was important to him, but that's a tough spot there for old Martin Dang. Jesper, you can see us sitting at 5-0 right now in the tournament. Martin's at 3-2, respectable. But Jesper really looking to take his lead on the field out here and maybe even take a perfect record into day 2. He's still got another round after this to make that happen, and he's got to finish off Martin here.
So it looks like Martin might have...
What are the next 2 games?
Jesper might have misclicked something.
What happened?
He bolstered onto the Seer.
Okay.
So now he can't keep scrying onto sacking the Kitchen Finks and bolstering onto it.
But doesn't the bolster still just go onto the Finks? Oh, because you can choose, right?
Oh, sure. He still had the first activation, or the first Anafenza bolster trigger, right?
All right, so he stops at 42.
I was wrong.
And passes the turn back.
It's not 60.
Yeah, 42 is not a bad number. And Martin, looks like he's just played a land and immediately shipped the turn back.
Yeah, remember that was on Martin's upkeep.
Right. No attack here for Martin either. I think he figures that going from 42 to 39 isn't how this ends.
39 plus X.
And there's a nice one there for Jesper. He's got Eternal Witness as well.
Yeah, he scried that onto the top.
That was the card he wanted.
Yes. So he might be getting back the birds here. I would not be surprised, because that sets up the Murderous Red
in
cut.
His graveyard? Yeah, there's the birds. He can also get a cord. Just go search it up.
Sure. Yeah, I couldn't see the cord from that angle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Martin's going to pop his fetch in response.
The Witness is actually going to pick up the counter here from Bolster.
Yeah, he could sack the Kitchen Finks in response again, right? But
yeah, I don't think it matters either way.
At this point, he's demonstrated the loop.
Yeah, I need to get back Corda Calling to try to set up the victory. Martin's just basically going through the motions here, but he knows that this one has become out of reach.
Here comes the cord for Red Cap, I would assume.
Yeah, cord for Red Cap. He's got the Spellskite to protect it. He's got all the combo pieces he needs. And that is going to let him do the final damage to Martin Dang here.
Now to note, he's only running one Red Cap in the deck, so if he was playing against like a Path or something, it'd be maybe a little bit more awkward.
I mean, he just sacks it anyway.
Yeah.
Like this combo is very difficult to interrupt in that way.
Especially with a Spellskite.
And the Spellskite makes it impossible. So here we go. Murderous Redcap is going to go into machine gun mode here and start firing off on Martin Dang's life total.
He's taking out the creatures first.
Oh, very thorough. Okay, attack for 6.
Would you like to pay 2 life to redirect that?
He didn't.
Oh.
I would have.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe it's better in the graveyard.
Back to machine gun mode here. And again, like we mentioned before, the interaction between the persist counter and Anafenza bolster +1/+1. They just cross each other off.
And this is going to bring Martin Dang down to 2 and then to 0. So Jesper takes down game 1 in impressive fashion here. Playing Collected Company with 1 combo piece, needing to find the other 2 to ensure the victory for the most part. He does, and this gives him enough time to find the actual win condition later. But all the pieces in play there for Jesper. And Martin Dang just making sure that he knows that he's got a Spellskite in play. Jesper obliges him, and 1 more activation should do it here.
Got to make sure you stack your triggers properly, otherwise you'll just be doing 1 damage. But
and there we go.
He's got it down.
He's got it down. So that's going to do it for game 1. You can take a look at our feature match area and see Martin Jesper as they go to sideboarding.
All right.
So you can watch the player sideboard here as well, Kenji. What do you expect to see changed here?
I think Martin's going to bring in... I would like to see the Blood Moons come in, but maybe that's just crazy talk. I know a lot of people don't like bringing in the Blood Moon versus Jesper's kind of deck, but...
Like a bunch of mana creatures?
Yeah. But, I mean, he only has the, 4 birds?
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I've got a soft spot in my heart for Blood Moon. More than likely, he's bringing in, I guess, maybe a Threads of Disloyalty seems pretty decent, doesn't it?
Yep, totally. That one's already in the deck.
Staticaster? That's a really good one, too.
Oh, yeah, those will both be in as well.
Let's see, what is he taking out here? He's taking out, looks like a Remand.
There's Tassiger. Has already hit the sideboard. Yeah, he's got the Threads and the 2 Staticasters over there. Looks like a Deprive might be falling victim here as well. Over on Jesper's side,
see, his sideboard has an Eidolon of Rhetoric. That's interesting. That beats the Snapcaster Mage.
Mm.
A lot of the burn spells coming out, it looks like.
Yeah, Burst Lightning has left as well. And it looks like Court of Callings are what are coming out here for Jesper. He must anticipate that Martin's going to bring in those 2 dispels that he's got there. Or something similar, a negate or something like that. Collected Company not going anywhere, though. Martin submits.
Hopefully happy with what he did.
Sure he's not happy with how round 1 went.
Well, sometimes your opponent just gains 1,000,000 life.
And does 1,000,000 damage, and you have to just watch him do it.
Looks like one of the Seers came out for Jesper.
One of the 4?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's interesting.
Do you still favor, or who do you favor after sideboarding?
It felt like Jesper was sort of the one that could go over the top of Martin, and Martin was stuck sort of 1-for-1-ing. The real question I have is, does Jesper have a good way to deal with Martin's threats? That's the question I have. Like, here, this game, we're going to get a turn 1 Delver of Secrets out of Martin Dang, and I'm really curious to see how Jesper deals with that. Because if Martin can start riding the Delver of Secrets, especially if it were to flip here on this first turn, he's got a couple of Lightning Bolts, Staticaster. He can find, some type of counterspell or something to really keep Jesper off balance.
Definitely.
While that thing does work. And but if Jesper just simply has an answer for the Delver, then all of a sudden, now look at at Martin's hand. It looks terrible. Like, he can bolt a couple of creatures and keep the board at bay here, but you figure that Jesper's going to be able to overpower him in the longer part of the game. Wow, 2 Voice of Resurgence can do a nice job racing here, too.
Don't exactly want to ever bolt a Voice of Resurgence.
Right, all right, so no flip from the Delver. Instead, it is a Dark Slick Shores off the top there for Martin. He's deciding which land he wants to play, if he wants to leave up Lightning Bolt.
I do like the Staticaster, though. It does some nice work.
Yeah, I can kill quite a few different things.
Tapped, though.
He's not concerned apparently about anything that Jesper can do on turn 2 here that he'd need to bolt immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to be rewarded for that, because it looks like it's going to be Voice of Resurgence. It could be Fauna Shaman, but
it looks like he is opting to.
Okay.
Well, reconsidering. I think I'd lead with the Voice here. Just makes it harder for Martin to do anything else, after that.
And there it is, Voice of Resurgence. So he wasn't going to bolt that on Jesper's turn anyway. And here's another second try at flipping this Delver. He misses again. So 0 for 2 on that so far. And that is going to have to, that happens sometimes. But when it gets up to 3, 4, 5 misses, then all of a sudden Delver Secrets looks pretty underpowered.
Yeah, Martin's deck is almost half spells that will flip the Delver.
All right, it looks like Is It Staticaster is going to be a play for Martin now. You'll note that it has flash, but the the Voice is sort of wagging its finger over there like, don't you try it.
If Jesper doesn't do too much, Martin has the option of, and I'm not saying this is good, bolting the Voice and then Staticastering the token, but
it's not too bad.
Not with Kitchen Finks coming down.
Yeah, Finks changes that for sure. So Martin can use this turn to bolt the Finks here and kill it.
Yeah, I do like that play.
He still can't flip that Delver of Secrets. We're 0 for 3 now, and in fact have hit 3 lands in a row. Martin Dang not playing that many lands in hopes of not having this type of thing happen, but occasionally it still does.
So at this point, if you're Martin, you got to think about, what can Jesper do at this point? Potentially next turn. You got to be scared of the Collected Company, but the problem is, he's only drawn lands, so with the 2 bolts, he probably wants to be a little bit conservative. He might be going with the bolt the Finks play, then finish it off, which still leaves him with 1, but
yeah, he's going to do it now. So there goes Kitchen Finks, going to gain a couple of life here for Jesper. And now Martin has the option to kill the 1 toughness creature with his Is It Staticaster. If you haven't seen that card before, it's an 0/3 and it can taps to deal 1 damage to target creature and each other creature with the same name. That means it can't hit players, but it can mow down multiple creatures occasionally in the form of, tokens, something like that. But here, it's going to finish off Kitchen Finks and leave that in the yard.
Have you ever killed 2 or more Birds of Paradise with Staticaster?
I have.
Feels great, doesn't it?
Best feeling in the world. Okay. Reminds you of Electrolyze in a lot of ways.
Yes, it does.
So far, a pretty fair game here, really, between these 2 players. And this is an interesting one. A second copy of Voice of Resurgence here means that if Martin can find another Is It Staticaster, he can just start mowing down the team here.
Yeah, he does have 2 from the board, so
the other copy, I guess, is what we're looking at. But in the meantime, those Voices are going to do serious work here, because they're going to leave behind a creature. So Lightning Bolt doesn't become a great option for it, though. It looks like Martin may have found a Lightning Bolt target here anyway. All right, still not flipping the Delver of Secrets, though. At least he found a threat this time.
Mm-hmm. And Gurmag's a nice one, too.
Yeah.
Looks like he's able to bolt the Fauna Shaman in addition to playing the Gurmag.
Yeah, he's going to have to play that Steam Vents or Watery Grave untapped to do it. But he can do it, and that's the key.
Looks like he's going to opt, for that plan. All right. Well, the Gurmag provides a large enough body that, maybe Martin's feeling a little bit better about its position.
Yeah, taking a look at Jesper's hand. Yikes. He's got a lot of value there.
It's value, but it isn't enough to win the game.
It's not game winning.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. The thing though is that he doesn't need to win the game immediately. Look at what Martin's doing. Not a lot really, right? I mean, even the Gurmag angler is look, he can go block, 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 but he can block 6 times right now if he wants. He can triple block, right? He's just got a lot of options. True. Okay, so here's the second copy of Delver, and now we've reached an important impasse in this game because Jesper can't seem to find that last bit of mana to get the Revelark going. But in the meantime, he might just get a land back here.
Yeah, well, he had one of the Eternal Witness in hand already.
Yeah, what's his what are his options here to get back?
Oh, the Fauna Shaman.
That's an option too. Let's see what he grabs.
This game is completely different if Martin flips over that Delver and within the first turn or two.
He just went and got the Windswept Teeth. I know. And now, though, the clock is ticking because if he can flip up these Delvers and have a way to get rid of the Revelark, then he could have a pretty consistent clock. If he can't, could get ugly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Staticaster is going to take down the 1 toughness Eternal Witness. And are these going to get turned face up? Yes, they finally are.
What did they reveal?
Yeah, we will see. He'll draw it right here, and it's a Gitaxium
That's not
Probe.
a bad one.
Yeah, so some information here for Martin Dang as well about what's going on currently in Jesper's hand, but in the meantime, he gets to beat down for 6, and this is going to add up quickly.
Unbeknownst to Jesper. I guess unbeknownst to Martin, Jesper has that Revelark. Well, until now.
It's beknownst.
But yeah, now, but you know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't before, and that is kind of one of the key cards. Oh.
I guess.
Look at this.
Wow.
Yeah. Electrolyze can do some work here. Gets a little touchy. You know, he can use it to like do 1 damage to each of the voices and then finish them both off. The problem is, of course, they will leave behind 2 tokens each, and those would be 3/3.
Especially after looking at the hand of Jesper, he knows that he can follow it up with 2 creatures next turn.
Yeah, and if we take a look at the graveyard again for Jesper here, we can see that he's already got 2 creatures in his yard that he wouldn't mind getting back, but yeah, you don't want to give him any more options if you can help it. Electrolyze, though, could also be used to kill the Kitchen Finks.
This is also very true.
You can just fire 2 of it in there, and it looks like everybody's going to hit here outside of the 0 power Is It Staticaster, so this presents some interesting block options now for Jesper. If he wants to go for the triple block to try to just kill the Angler, then Electrolyze can take care of that.
Oh,
Double block gets it done too,
yes.
Excuse me. Yeah. But either way, if he goes for this block, the Electrolyze is going to break things up. He can fire it off on the Kitchen Finks here and even use his Staticaster to finish it off.
I like this attack. Keeps things clear. He knows he has the Revelark, but I mean, you can't.
But he's going to do that either way.
You can't really afford to.
Now, the other option that Martin has here is just to let this happen. And he can use his Electrolyze plus the Is It Staticaster to kill the Revelark itself, which is the only thing that's going to be standing in the way of these 2 Insectal Aberrations next turn. Yeah, it looks like... so
he's going to kill the Voice here.
He's going to kill the Voice. He's got a Spell Snare now.
That's not terrible versus this deck.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not great here. I mean, the Revelark's going to be the big problem. But I think that Martin can just finish off the Kitchen Finks here at his leisure.
It looks like he's not opting to.
Well, I mean, he can do it when he wants. Like, he can block the Voice of Resurgence just to save 2 life and then kill the Kitchen Finks.
Sure.
For example.
Ooh, we see a Murderous Redcap.
Okay, another combo piece, but right now, Jesper is still 2 combo pieces short of making any infinite stuff happen, so... Revelark is finally going to join the team here. He's been sitting in the yard just waiting and waiting.
And I don't think he minds just playing out the grindy game. He's getting so much value off of his creatures.
Yeah, that's one thing that this deck can certainly do. We found that in the Birthing Pod list when that was still legal too, that oftentimes Birthing Pod never even appeared, and it didn't matter.
So he's debating attacks here. Do you attack with a 4/4 Elemental? Looks like he's shipping in the team.
This is interesting. I would definitely attack with the 4/4 Elemental. I am Not clear that I would attack with the other two. I suppose it doesn't matter. I mean, you can block Voice of Resurgence on Gurmag Angler to save yourself some life, and this could put him in a bad spot. Ooh, there's the threads of
we were talking about. Is that good on a Voice of Resurgence?
That is not bad at all.
Can even take the Elemental. It would be huge. It would be another Gurmag Angler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
I don't know if I like that attack by Jesper, though. I mean, it was a clear block, right?
It felt, yeah, it was an easy block.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to get any extra damage. He had already tapped out. You know, there was not even the threat of something weird.
It's not like either or any of the creatures that were going to die this turn, Revelar could have gotten back anyways.
That's right. Yeah, that was a little aggressive. I don't mind attacking with the 4/4.
Oh yeah,
that part makes sense to me. But I think you hold back the other two just because they're not getting in any case. All right, the actual Voice of Resurgence is what gets threads here, and in comes the rest of the team. Martin seems happy to trade off one of the Insectal Aberrations for the Revelark, but this is going to get some pretty serious value for Jesper. In the meantime, though, Jesper's going to take a big hit here.
Nearly half his life.
Yeah.
So a really good play by Martin here. He's activating the Staticaster on the Elemental prior to damage being dealt. That way, when Revelark triggers and dies, the Elemental's only going to be a 1/1. And with 1 damage on it, just going to die.
This is going to die, so he managed to take out the other creature here. Now, Revelark does still get the trigger, of course. And let's take a quick look at the graveyard here for Jesper. So he can choose between Fauna Shaman, Eternal Witness, the Voice. Those are the cards he can get back. So, sort of dictated for him here. But what does he get back with? Eternal Witness?
Just the Revelark to sustain the loop.
Getting his grind on, and he finds a Path to Exile here as well. So still, again, no combo pieces going, but you mentioned it a minute ago, Kenji, we're in grind mode here.
Yep. But luckily for Martin, I think Jesper might go with the Qasali Pride Mage trying to kill the threads.
And that's going to get snared.
And that's just going to get snared.
Yeah. Which, I think if you're, in Martin's seat, you're pretty happy to find a target for the snare.
Exactly.
Period.
Well, at this point of the game especially.
Yeah, though there are 2 key combo pieces that Snare does hit with Malira and on Offenza.
This is true.
So that is something to consider. Another thing to consider, though, if you're Martin, is that you might not find a target for it. You certainly don't want to die with Spell Snare in your hand. And that deck can get those combo pieces into play without actually hard casting them. You're not going to Spell Snare a Collected Company or a Chord of Calling, and those can go get those pieces anyway. So a lot of things to consider here for Martin Dang. Sitting at 3-2 against Jesper Jiang, who is certainly currently at 5-0. He's the only undefeated player, and in fact, he was last round as well. So he is, multiple matches ahead of the competition already, and we're not even finished with day 1 yet here at the Magic Online Championship.
So it looks like Martin's willing to Spell Snare the Qasali Pride Mage, giving Jesper an Elemental token because he has that Voice of Resurgence.
I could come back to bite him.
But if this way he gets to keep his voice.
It's true.
And I think he was kind of incentivized to play the Pride Mage there over the Revelark just because, it was only Fauna Shaman in the graveyard. Although I guess it's pretty likely that the Eternal Witness dies on this next turn, given any sort of attack.
Yeah, and the Staticaster.
So it looks like he's thinking about playing the other Eternal Witness, maybe?
That could be.
Because he could get another Windswept Heath,
Yep. And even have Path to Exile ready.
Although that's pretty unfortunate against the Staticaster. Remember, this is only game 2. If Martin wins this one, we're still going to get another one.
That's right. Clocks are starting to come into play a little bit here. They still have just about 10 minutes each, which is plenty of time. But, we're still in the middle of this game. There isn't a clear winner lined up right now, and they do need to kind of get this thing finished. And it looks like Jesper's done the combat math and has decided that an attack for 4 is the correct play here, followed up by playing a Path to Exile on the Gurmag Angler.
And remember, he has to do this main phase, otherwise
tokens.
The Voice that has threads on it, it's going to produce another Elemental.
Kind of an annoying draw here for Martin Dang. He finds another super reactive card with Spell Snare. He just got the other one out of his hand. Now he's got a second copy.
Again, at the cost of giving Jesper an Elemental.
That's right. This is a good old slugfest, though.
It
at this
is.
point, both players seem to think that they're the beatdown.
Well, as soon as Jesper hits another black source, if he does, he can pop off the insectal aberration. This game's been a little bit back and forth, but
interestingly, you know, if he does have that second black source, that Merus Redcap could just be lethal here.
true.
Right? Is it Staticaster would probably block like the Voice of Resurgence. That would have him taking 5 here. The Redcap would just kill him.
Well, no, because the Staticaster would finish off the
Sure.
witness.
You're right. So it would put him down to 2.
Yeah. Another
Which would
unfortunate
likely
draw.
kill him the next turn. Yeah, this is pretty close.
I think at this point he has to play the Revel Arc to deal
Actually, you
with
know what?
the,
That'd put him to 3 anyway because the token would shrink
oh, sure.
before damage. So actually, slipping a little further away there outside of combo potential here for Jesper, but he still doesn't have that either. But he, again, you mentioned this multiple turns ago, Kenji. He's just gone into grind mode here.
Yep.
We've seen this Revel Arc come back multiple times, and that's pretty tough to overcome for Martin Dang, who's got his opponent so low, down to 4.
Now they're going to be both 4 here.
One Lightning Bolt's not going to get it done, and he doesn't find it anyway. He finds a Sulfur Falls.
Yeah, I think Jesper's just ground him out at this point. He really needed to hit something this turn.
Yeah, he really did. And
You see just a pass.
yeah, he's got a free chump block with the voice, but he's now going to have to trade Insectal Aberration for Revel Arc, which is going to be, well, let's see what happens. It's going to be an Eternal Witness and a Fauna Shaman or a Pride Mage coming back into coming back into play there for Jesper. So it's hard to keep up with this much value, right? The fact is that Martin hasn't actually been able to mount enough of an offensive to stop what Jesper's doing, and he's played Eternal Witnesses and Revel Arcs sort of in a loop for quite a while here, and has really just ground Martin Dang into dust here. I mean, his hand is still stacked, same with his graveyard, and Martin's on nothing.
So we see Ewit getting back the path, getting rid of the Insectal Aberration here.
That's lethal.
That is, in fact, lethal.
That's going to clear the way for Revel Arc, and I think Martin's going to have to just scoop him up here, but that doesn't mean that Jesper de Jong is going to be 6-0. Wow. That's a great start for him. I mean,
Yeah, again, this guy says he plays nothing but limited online. So
and today was all constructed. If you're just tuning in, we played Vintage earlier. Jesper went 3-0 in that, and now we're playing Modern. So, you know, really the opposite end of the spectrum for a limited player, right? I mean, these are the biggest constructed formats we have, right? It goes like Vintage, Legacy, Modern. We're playing Vintage and Modern.
Those are two of the scariest formats for people to get into constructed.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that's going to do it. Jesper de Jong is undefeated at 6-0. Welcome back to the booth. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe with Kenji Higashira. We're here in Seattle, Washington. We're downtown, and it's a great day here to watch the Magic.
It is.
All right, so let's send it over to BDM for the Red Zone. BDM, what do we got going on?
Was 4-1 coming into this round. He is one match. His only loss came to Jesper, and as a result, he was the only 4-1. So both he and Jesper had to play against 3-2 players. So Alexa Teleroff with the mono red deck playing against Magnus Lanto. Teleroff is on the draw, and we pick things up on his first turn. And well, you see what he's doing. He's playing Lava Spike against the Elf deck. So there's an Elvish Visionary and Eidolon of the Great Revel. This is bad news for the Elf deck. Yeah, you know, he plays Elvish Archdruid and dings himself down to 15. In comes the Eidolon. It's going to trade. But, oh, there's an Atarkus command. It's not going to trade at all. And Magnus is down to 12. Azuri Renegade Leader. So here we go. In comes the Eidolon. There's a Searing Blaze. Gonna regenerate an Elf. So Visionary blocks, regenerates, but Lanto, again, the only 4-1 in this tournament is down to 5. He plays Scavenging Ooze. He goes to 6. He goes to 7, and he's got a 4-4 there. And now he gets to start attacking Teleroth's life total. But Teleroth fires off a Boros Charm. Lanto's down to 3. And there's another Boros Charm. So Alexa Teleroth wins game 1 through his own Eidolon, gets him down to -1 there, beats a 4-power Scavenging Ooze that gained a bunch of life. Let's go. We've got another game queued up with these guys right here. Let me pull that up and see how game 2 went, if it went a little differently. After sideboard. So let's see what happens. So Magnus leads off. He names elves with his Cavernous Souls, plays an Elvish Mystic. Turn 1, Grim Lavamancer. Oh, there's a Kitchen Finks. A nightmare for these red decks. Goblin Guide comes down. Doesn't get into the red zone. So, you know, this is working along perfectly for Magnus here. Plays his 3rd land. Plays an Nettle Sentinel. And we see Grim Lavamancer taking out an elf. Lanto floats some mana. Plays a Scavenging Ooze. And he goes to 23. So he's in great shape here. He's at 23. He's got a Kitchen Finks. Kitchen Finks trades, sort of, with the Grim Lavamancer. And now he's at 25. This seems to be a great spot that you to be in against the red deck, guys. All right. Lightning Bolt your Scavenging Ooze. And pass turn. He's just got 2 mana to operate with here. He's got a fistful of cards, though. He's at 5 cards. In comes the Nettle Sentinel. He falls to 14. Magnus plays another Nettle Sentinel. And Grim Lavamancer is going to kill that first one. Not let it untap here. And then Llanowar Elves. So 25-14. Things looking really good here for Magnus Lanto. Do you guys want to place any, pride wagers here on how this comes out?
I mean, Teleroth's got 6 cards in his hand and should be able to 1-for-1 for anything that Magnus does, but he's so far behind here.
Yeah, I mean, he's at 25 life, which seems tremendous.
I think it only takes like 1 collected company from Magnus to really put it over the top.
Yeah, it just feels like he has access to card advantage tools that...
Well, here's that collected company you were talking about.
There you go.
Good call there, Kenji. So, he hits Elvish Archdruid and Llanowar Elves off of the collected company.
Yeah, you're going to have to aim a burn spell at the Archdruid, no problem.
The only good thing about Kitchen Finks is that it's not an elf.
Okay.
It's an oaf.
He's going to cast Boros Charm. Indestructible Grim Lavamancer.
Interesting.
That trades off.
Here's a Searing Blaze. Takes down the Archdruid. There's a Swift Spear.
Down to 22, though.
Right,
down to 22. 22 playing 9.
But he's got his opponent top decking now. He's still got 3 cards in hand. And he's got an active Lavamancer.
Yeah, Elvish Mystic. Yeah, no cards in hand for Lanto at this point. Still 3 cards in hand for the red player.
Monastery Swiftspear doing the block duty here.
Yeah.
That's the Lavamancer that's putting in all the work.
Yeah, but that Swiftspear is holding back every creature there.
Lavamancer can eat any of them.
Yeah, but he could attack.
Okay. So another Boros Charm. Just
wow, that's aggressive.
That's an aggressive Boros
22 to 18.
And activates the Lavamancer, picks off a creature, gets a 2-power creature off the board.
Kenji, how you feeling about that collected company?
I still feel great.
Here comes Monastery Swiftspear.
Just serving in. This has been a crazy game.
Another Boros Charm.
Is that the 4th?
That's at least the 3rd.
Yeah.
You got 1 in the side, one in the exile, 1 in the graveyard.
Yeah, there's 3.
So it's number 3.
One of them traded for half a kitchen.
I know this.
Just FYI.
And suddenly Magnus Lanto's at 12. And again, playing off the top. So
there's a forest.
Plays a land. That's not. All right. Decides it's time for him to attack.
Yeah, because now he can.
So he attacks. One of his guys gets picked off, and Tellerov falls to 7. Is it time for Grim Lavamancer to get into the red zone? Yes, it is.
Wow.
What's he got? It's a lightning helix.
No.
Now it's suddenly 9. Suddenly Tellerov's in the lead. He's at 10. Lanto's fallen to 9. Tapping some mana. There's a kitchen finks.
All right.
Wow.
That seems like a huge draw there for Lanto. He goes back up to 8. Pecks away for 1 with an elf.
4 cards in the burn player's hand.
Never a good place to be if you're facing off against burn. And then it passes the turn. So another elf. 1 card in hand for Lanto.
He's had that card for a while. It's got to be nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. There's an Atarka's command.
Oh, no.
Man, this Tellerov guy is fearless.
Can't gain life. Deals 3 damage. Activate Grim Lavamancer.
Puts you to 2?
3.
Get
Puts you to 3, I mean? There's no
Spike.
difference, I don't think.
Spike?
Lightning Helix
Wow.
off the top. So that means Jasper is 2 full matches
Holy
clear of the
moly.
field. The last player with 1 loss goes to 2 losses. So you have 6-0 and then a scrum of players at 4 and 2. Alexa Tellerov's played himself right near to the front of the pack. So pretty exciting stuff. Sending it back to you guys in the booth.
Whoa, that was sweet. He had like 6 cards in hand
I did
facing a
believe
bunch of elves, and you thought, I mean, you were right though in that matchup. You know, even if you won for 1 a bunch of times, the collected company can get you back over the top, and plus you have the ability to shut the door on the game. But you know that Grim Lavamancer
did all the work.
Serious,
That did all the work.
Serious work. Yeah, that was definitely the key card for that match because, well, the other deck just doesn't have any way to interact with it at all. It just does a whole bunch of damage. All right, so why don't we send it down to the floor for an interview?
Hi everyone, I'm Eric Froelich at the Magic Online Championships, and joining me is Jasper, who is now 3-0 in Vintage, 3-0 in Modern. That means 6-0 record, and everyone else is kind of sitting back at 4 and 2. So 6-0 through 2 tough constructed formats. You must play a lot of constructed. Is that kind of your focus?
My focus is Cube Draft and Vintage Masters. Actually, 1 month ago, the only constructed I played was the Pro Tour I qualified for, which I got from this qualifier for the Magic Online Championship.
So we're going into Limited tomorrow. We still have 1 more round today, and no matter what, we know our overnight leader is going to be Jasper. He's in great shape, and now going to draft. So you're playing a Malira combo deck with basically the card of Modern right now, Collected Company. It's a big one right now. What led you to play this deck?
Yeah, so for the Pro Tour I played was also Modern, and we had a deck which I thought was great. It was Zoo. Didn't go that well. We had 3 players playing it, and I went 1-4, and the rest didn't go much better. But the deck felt good, so I thought, well, let's just play this deck again, unless, of course, during testing we found out that this Spotless Spot deck just kept beating it, but it wasn't really a thing. So we had to figure out, or I had to figure out, does this Collected Company really change things? So the only thing I tried was put that in the deck and play it, and I just kept winning on Magic Online. So that's how I got at this deck.
So you just lose Birthing Pod, and the deck just gets even more powerful. Collected Company, just kind of an improvement.
As I said, I haven't played I haven't played any constructed among.
Maybe it improved.
So I have no idea what this birthing pod does.
Yeah, it's decent. I mean, some people played it a little bit here and there. So are you really looking forward to it turning over to Limited tomorrow morning? Is that kind of your wheelhouse? I know it's not Vintage Masters, it's not Cube, but how do you feel about Dragon's Draft?
Yeah, so I played like 10 drafts, so my preparation is also not the best. But I mean, it's going right. This is going right without too much preparation, so anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, 6-0, great start. Definitely pacing the field, on his way to top 4, hopefully. Good luck tomorrow and the last round.
Thank you for that, Efro. So good stuff there from Jasper the Young. And